So, you know how when you're watching an online lecture, the instructor is often right there on screen?
Yeah, kind of small in the corner sometimes, or maybe bigger.
Right. And they're uh, often gesturing, pointing at things, using their hands while they talk.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's super common in online learning. You see it all the time.
It really is. You've almost certainly seen it. But, like, have you ever stopped and wondered if all that hand waving actually does anything? Does it help you learn?
That's a great question. It feels like it should, maybe, but does it really? It's such a standard part of the setup now.
Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We found some pretty fascinating research on this.
Oh, cool. What did you find?
It's a big meta-analysis. So,
Oh.
they didn't just do one study. They looked at tons of them.
Ah, one of those. Yeah, those can be really powerful for getting a clear picture.
Totally. This one was just published June 2024 in Educational Psychology Review.
Okay, very recent then.
Yeah. And they were incredibly thorough. They looked at, get this, 83 different articles,
83. Wow.
which gave them over 660 different measurements, effect sizes, they call them.
Okay, that's a massive data set, really robust.
It is. They searched all the big databases, stuff published right up to March this year, and they even included studies in, like, other languages, not just English.
You know what? That's really good. Makes the findings much more generalizable, not just focused on English speakers.
Exactly. So our mission for you listening in this deep dive is basically to tackle that question. Does seeing your instructor gesture on screen actually help you learn better?
And maybe how it helps, if it does. Does the kind of gesture matter?
Yes, exactly. What does all this combined science actually tell us? We're moving beyond just gut feelings here.
Right, trying to get to what the evidence across all these studies really says.
And it wasn't just about, like, your final grade. They looked at a whole bunch of things.
Okay, like what?
Well, how well people remembered the basic facts, they call that retention.
Uh-huh. Standard memory recall.
And then transfer, which is more about can you take that knowledge and, use it,
Yeah.
apply it somewhere new.
Ah, the deeper learning. That's often the more important goal.
Definitely. But also they looked at eye tracking data where people were actually looking on the screen.
Oh, interesting. Fixation time. Fixation counts?
Yeah, both of those. And cognitive load, basically how much mental effort it took.
Okay, so attention and effort.
And even social stuff, like how connected learners felt to the instructor.
Wow, so they covered cognitive and affective or social aspects. Pretty comprehensive.
Totally. Gives a really rounded picture, I
It
think.
really does. Looking at all those angles helps understand the why behind any effects, not just the what.
So just to give you a little teaser,
Mm.
the big takeaway seems to be, yes, there's this embodiment effect,
Embodiment effect. Okay.
which basically means, yeah, overall, having an instructor who gestures does seem to help you learn, but there's nuance.
Ah, there's always nuance in these big studies. Okay, so let's unpack that. This overall embodiment effect, what did the numbers show for learning?
Right, so the main result, gesturing instructors led to significantly better scores on both retention tests.
Remembering the facts.
Yep, that effect size was G equals 0.28, and also on transfer tests.
Applying the knowledge.
Right, and that was even a little stronger, G equals 0.31, both statistically significant.
Okay, 0.28 and 0.31. For people not used to effect sizes, what does that translate to, roughly? Is it a big deal?
Well, they're generally considered small to medium effects in education research.
Yeah.
But the key is they were consistent across lots of studies.
Right. So it's not a huge jump, maybe, but it's a real reliable advantage. Someone learning with gestures probably will do a bit better on average.
Exactly. Better at remembering and better at applying it. So it's definitely not just random hand waving with no impact.
It seems to be genuinely beneficial for processing the information.
Okay, so that's the overall picture, but you hinted it gets more interesting. The type of gesture.
Yes, this is where it gets really practical, I think. It's
Wow.
not just any movement. The analysis showed certain types had a stronger positive effect.
Which ones?
Specifically, they found bigger benefits for didictic gestures.
Didictic. Okay, fancy word. What's that?
It just means pointing, like literally pointing at something specific on the screen, a word, a diagram, a date on a timeline.
Ah, okay. That makes intuitive sense. Guides your eyes.
Exactly. And also metaphorical gestures.
Metaphorical, like acting things out.
Sort of. It's more about using your hands to represent an abstract concept visually. Think maybe showing opposing forces by pushing hands against each other or showing growth by moving hands upwards.
Gotcha. Making the abstract a bit more concrete with a visual analogy.
Precisely. And the third thing that worked well was simply using a mixture of different gesture types.
So maybe pointing sometimes, using those metaphorical ones other times, keeping it varied.
Seems like it. The consistency was in using gestures that were clearly related to the content, whether pointing or illustrating.
So just kind of fidgeting or, waving hands for emphasis might not be the key thing here.
It might help with engagement, perhaps make the instructor seem more dynamic, but the learning boost seemed more tied to these content-linked gestures, especially the pointing and the metaphorical ones.
Okay, that's a really useful distinction for you if you're watching or making these videos. Focus on gestures that connect to the material.
Right. Now, another really interesting finding was about the control group.
The group that didn't see gestures, what about them?
Well, the positive effect of gesturing this embodiment effect was actually stronger when the control group didn't just lack gestures, but they couldn't see the instructor at all.
Wait, really? So gesturing instructor versus just like slides and a voiceover.
Exactly. That comparison showed a bigger benefit for gesturing than, say, comparing a gesturing instructor to a static, non-gesturing instructor who was still visible on screen.
That's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? You think just seeing a person, even still, would be better than nothing.
You might think so, but what this suggests is maybe just seeing the instructor, their presence adds some value already.
Okay.
So seeing a still instructor might be a bit better than just voiceover slides. But then adding gestures on top of seeing the instructor gives a further significant boost. The gestures add something substantial beyond just visual presence.
Ah, I see. So the biggest jump in learning comes when you go from no instructor visible to a gesturing instructor visible.
That seems to be what the pattern suggests, yeah. The gestures really carry their weight when they are the main human visual element being added.
That's a fascinating wrinkle. Okay, what about the learning context? Like, does it matter if you control the video speed?
Yes, definitely. The meta-analysis found the benefit of gestures was stronger in videos that were learner-paced.
Meaning you can pause, rewind.
Exactly. Compared to videos that just played straight through at a set speed, instructor-based ones.
That makes total sense. If you can pause, you have time to actually process the gesture, see what they're pointing at, think about the metaphor.
Right. You can integrate the visual gesture cue with the verbal information more effectively at your own speed.
And what about lecture length? Did that play a role?
It did. Interestingly, longer lectures seem to benefit more from instructor gesturing.
More, not less. You might think you'd get tired of watching the gestures, or they'd become distracting in a long session.
That's a reasonable thought, but the data suggested the opposite. Perhaps in those longer videos, the gestures play a more crucial role in just maintaining your attention and engagement over time.
Ah, like preventing your mind from wandering off during hour 2 of that chemistry lecture.
Could be. The visual dynamism might help combat mental fatigue and keep you focused on the material when you might otherwise start to zone out.
Okay, so learner pacing helps you process gestures, and gestures help you stay focused in longer videos. Makes sense. So we know that it helps, but why? What's happening inside our heads?
Good question. The researchers point towards two main pathways: social and cognitive.
Oh, hey, social first.
On the social side, learners actually rated instructors who gestured as being, well, more socially present. They felt a stronger connection.
Yeah, I totally see that. Someone waving their hands around feels more human, more engaged, like they're really talking to you.
Exactly that feeling. And that sense of connection, that social presence can boost your motivation, make you more receptive. It's not just cold information transfer.
Right, you feel like there's a person there trying to help you understand. What about the cognitive pathway?
Cognitively, it links back to that eye tracking data we mentioned.
Ah, where people were looking.
Yes. Gesturing, specifically those deictic pointing gestures, led to learners spending more time looking at the core learning material on the screen.
So the pointing literally draws your eyes to the important stuff.
And not just looking longer, but also more frequent fixations on that key material. It directs attention.
It's like a visual cue saying, hey, look here, this bit is important.
Precisely. It helps you filter the information and focus your cognitive resources where they're most needed, right when the instructor is talking about that specific point.
And just to double check, this increased eye focus on the material was mainly linked to the pointing, not just any hand movement.
That's what the analysis specifically highlighted for the eye tracking metrics, yes. While other gestures might aid understanding in other ways, the deictic ones have this very direct effect on guiding visual attention to the relevant content.
Okay, super clear. Pointing helps you look at the right stuff. Seems obvious, but it's great to see the data back it up so strongly.
It really is. It validates that intuition.
Now, this was a huge analysis, but research never stops, right? Did the authors say more work is needed?
Oh, absolutely. They always do. They specifically called out the need for future studies to be really clear in describing their methods.
Like exactly what kind of gestures were used and
Mm.
what was the control group really like.
Exactly. More detailed reporting helps future meta-analyses be even more precise. And they also want to see more eye-tracking studies.
To dig deeper into how different gestures affect visual processing.
Precisely. To get even finer-grained insights into those cognitive mechanisms.
Makes sense. Keep refining the understanding. Oh, and did they mention anything about like the quality of the studies? Risk of bias?
They did, yeah. They used standard methods, funnel plots, and something called the Egger sandwich test to check for potential publication bias. They seemed pretty confident the overall findings were robust.
Okay, good to know they checked that. Adds credibility.
Definitely.
All right, let's try and wrap this up for everyone listening. What's the key takeaway message for you from all this?
I think the main thing is gestures aren't just fluff. When an instructor on screen uses them thoughtfully, especially pointing to guide your eyes or using metaphors to make ideas clearer, or just a good mix, it can actually help you learn better.
Both remember facts and apply concepts.
Yes. And this seems especially true if you can watch at your own pace, and maybe even more helpful in longer videos. And remember that comparison point. The benefit really shines when compared to not seeing the instructor at all.
And it's not just about your brain processing the info better, right?
Yeah.
There's that social angle too.
Absolutely. Don't underestimate that feeling of connection. Gestures can make the instructor seem more present, more engaging, and that can really help your motivation and overall experience. It's a dual benefit, cognitive and social.
This has been really insightful. Seriously changes how you might look at those online course videos, doesn't it?
It really does. Makes you appreciate when it's done well.
Okay, so final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. Knowing this, how might you change the way you watch educational videos? Will you pay more attention to those pointing gestures now?
Or if you ever create educational content yourself, how could you use gestures more intentionally to help your audience learn and connect?
Definitely some food for thought there. Thinking about how these seemingly small physical actions can actually make a real difference in understanding.